Now with that, we do have our next set of speakers up, and that's our panel. I just saw a couple folks step out. Do we need to give a moment? Do we need to stall for a moment? Oh, Vinay has, oh, wonderful. Okay, I just want to make sure. So our next panel up, as I mentioned, we're going through a few areas of technology today. The first being AI, and then the next two being around immersive technology, and finally cybersecurity. So for our next panel, we've got an amazing group of speakers together. And rather than do it myself, I'd like to introduce our moderator for this panel on immersive technology, the future of immersive technology. So covering AR, VR, and other forms of augmented reality. To present this particular panel, who brought this group together and moderating it is the, what is your actual title? I know you're with the Center of Excellence for Immersive Technology at Algoma University, Director of the Center of Excellence for Immersive Technology at Algoma University, Vinay Paramanand.
Thank you so much. Would like to see more people up front. I think maybe it helps. If you can move to the front. Just saying, I'm not picking on that. And there's no AI coming up tracking this thing if you're moving up front, and we'll let you know. Yeah, okay, I'll take this then. Thank you so much, Jaipal, and thank you so much, Josephine. While I was shuddered, but I see the impact and the potential AI has. So more human AIs, maybe. That's the takeaway. Anand, good morning and welcome. It's truly a pleasure to be here at the Brampton Tech Forward event, where innovation, technology, and collaboration come together. For those who I haven't met, and thank you, Jaipal, for introduction, my name is Vinay Paramanand, and I'm proud to serve as the Director of the National Center of Excellence for Immersive Technology at Algoma University in Brampton. So just making sure I say all of those correctly. This event perfectly reflects Algoma's university's vision of building a vibrant tech ecosystem that bridges academia and industry. At Algoma, we are guided by a unique special mission focused on cross-cultural learning, community engagement, and academic excellence. This mission drives us to foster innovation and tackle real-world challenges through strategic partnerships, cutting-edge research, and meaningful community connections, the one we have, the Brampton Board of Trade here. One of our proudest milestones, and I'm proud to be associated with this, is the Center of Excellence for Immersive Technology, in short, the NCOE. This transformation initiative aims to drive innovation by offering students the opportunity to learn from industry experts and develop highly demanded skills in today's technological landscape. But the NCOE is just more than the initiative. It's a gateway to an opportunity. This past September, we launched Algoma's first Game Jam, where we had 60 students from Algoma, some of them are here amongst us today, who took part of this Game Jam, where they got 2-day intensive training in building games, which is what we love to do. The winners of those Game Jam then took part in Algoma's first Game Incubator program. So this was an 8-week program where 30 students took part, received both technical and business mentorship, training, coaching, over 60 hours of training. And then they finally, just last week, we had our first demo day. So 5 teams presented to a panel of judges from the game industry to build games. All this with a pure intention of building game studios in Brampton. This is new for us. And I know and I thank the City of Brampton and the Brampton Board of Trade for being there and supporting that. But this initiative is just one of the many initiatives we are launching at the Algoma University and through the COE. Soon we will share more details on our XR Accelerator program, the first in Canada. Stay tuned for that information. But what this really does is it demonstrates our dedication to fostering creativity, entrepreneurship, and technical expertise. By providing hands-on experience and industry collaboration and mentorship, we empower our students to turn their ideas into reality and prepare them to succeed in the ever-evolving and ever-changing technological industry. We are committed to engaging with the industry to develop immersive solutions through research, student and faculty engagement, and events like these. Together, we are advancing technology and innovation and are proud to stand at the forefront of this vital work. Thank you so much, everyone, for your continued support and driving this vision forward. Miigwech, thank you. And with that, with that, I would like to get into our panel. I would love to have our panelists here today, an exciting group of people whom I had the pleasure of speaking and working with for the past little over, I think, 1 year. I would like to call you on stage, and then I will also love for you to introduce yourselves. So first we have Fernando Blasco, Director of Sales, VirtualWare US and Canada. Fernando, please have a seat. Next, we have Oktay Kesebi, Chapter, the VR ARA Association, Toronto Chapter. Oktay, please. And then we have Fareham Whiteley, the Chief Strategy Officer at RealityJam and a partner at LMTLESS Agency. Thank you so much, Fareham. So before we begin, I would like each of you to take a moment and introduce yourself.
Thank you, Vinay. Is this open? Can you hear me? Perfect. So my name is Fernando. I'm actually a telecom engineer from Barcelona, from Spain. And I represent a startup. It's a small company. We're 150 people based in Spain. That we are actually the global startup in VR, in what's called XR, specifically for 3D-driven enterprise software as a service that we provide for many companies in robotics, in automation, in manufacturing, and even as well NASA. NASA is one of our clients, SpaceX. So we're really moving very fast. We're becoming the global training, immersive training company in the world. We are in Canada, we are in the US, we are in 8 countries in Latin America, and we have 75 immersive training centers across Europe. So it has been really interesting. We have 2 CEOs, one of them, Sergi Bruguera, is one of the biggest CTOs in VR in the world, recognized with a PhD, constantly going around the world, giving classes and presentations. So we are very much increasing the possibility to democratize actually VR across and creating new standards in this sector. Thank you.
I'm assuming this works. Okay, perfect. I can hear myself. My name's Oktay Kesebi, and I actually run the VR AR Association Toronto chapter. And we are an advocacy group that supports the adoption of VR, AR, and mixed reality, which we collectively call XR, across verticals. We are not-for-profit, so we are agnostic. We help support the community. We help to expand the community, and we encourage people to join the community for the adoption of XR. Professionally, I've had an interesting career, but primarily it's where creativity meets business strategy. I've had the privilege to work with some Fortune 500 and Fortune 100 companies in my career. I started off in interactive media, moved into special effects, and increasingly in entertainment and in XR. And currently a passion project that I'm working on is a feature film with a number of players that combines live action as well as AI. And I also educate executives, leaders, and organizations on the adoption of XR and XR strategy.
Thanks, Oktay.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Fareham Whiteley. I'm Chief Strategy Officer at RealityJam. I'm also partner at LMTLESS Agency. RealityJam is a software platform. We have a suite of products, but we focus primarily on the entertainment industry through live events. And we also have AI product, AI Jam, which are virtual humans that can be integrated into your website. And we play around with technology and incorporate technology in many different factors everywhere we can. At LMTLESS, we're a marketing and branding agency, primarily focusing on bridging the gap from the digital space into the physical space. I did a lot of work, particularly in the metaverse brand deployments. And we found a huge gap. You know, initially when metaverse came out, there was a huge rush into the space, a lot of money flowing, but the KPIs weren't pulling. So we identified that gap, and we started working with in real life deployments, leveraging holograms and virtual environments. my main background, I come from the film industry. I did everything. If you know anyone in the film industry, you kind of take on many roles. But I ended my career as a series developer for Discovery, and then got into blockchain technologies around 2011. And I've been very actively involved in blockchain technology and establishing some of the key protocols early on that still exist today. And now I like playing around with all of my knowledge, all of the different type of technologies, and finding ways of incorporating and working those technologies together.
Thank you so much. Really, great to have you all here. Thank you so much. I guess what we want to do is people hear a lot of words and they say, okay, well, what does immersive technology mean? And there are so many acronyms that go out saying AR, VR, XR, MR, and then there is WebXR, and then there is Metaverse, and then there is digital twin. It's an endless list. Well, that's the beauty of it. This is an emerging technology. So what we're trying to do here today is kind of set the tone and kind of help spread awareness. What is this all about? So immersive technology, or here we call it as extended reality, that's like an umbrella term for AR, which is augmented reality, VR, which is virtual reality, and mixed reality. Now, you would have seen this in some movies, and wondered, okay, where does this fall? And we'll talk about that in a bit. So what does that mean? Well, augmented reality it's more a view of the physical. You can look through your devices and kind of see that happening in the physical world. So an example, and I'll show that, is if you're shopping on Wayfair, Walmart, IKEA, you see that's AR, right? What is mixed reality? I think that's where you're actually bringing the digital and the physical together. Now, again, we'll show some examples, but you can, I think now I'm kind of giving a hint. If you've watched Avenger movies, Star Trek, if you can realize, well, yes, you're kind of getting it there. And the last one is virtual reality. This is a full-scale, digital world, primarily associated with a headset. So we've seen the VR headsets that Apple, Meta has, so that's virtual reality. Next one. So these are kind of the use cases. So the first one, augmented reality. This is created in the digital, but you can actually see it in the physical world. So retail sector uses this a lot, but obviously there are more use cases. Mixed reality, I had the opportunity of visiting one of the automotive research sites in Windsor, where it's just like a cave, and you have the car, but you can sit inside, and you can see, well, what's happening. So you're sitting on a seat, but the car is all around you. So this is mixed reality. I can see what's happening outside the car, but I can also see what's happening inside the car. And looking at the panel, looking what's happening, right? So that's mixed reality. And the third one is virtual reality. As you can see, you put on a headset, and then some of the industries that use this, we have construction and logistics, but again, it's applicable to a lot of industries. And that's what we're going to discuss today as well, saying where is the applicability, where are the use cases, how do we go from here? Where is XR? What does it have? Where is the potential for XR? So with that, I would like to kick us off with the first question. Obviously, you folks know, working in your day-to-day life, that XR is revolutionizing industries. But how do you see this transforming business operation, customer engagement? And I'm talking long-term, 5, 10 years. I know this is long. I know technology is rapidly changing. We just heard that through AI. But we really want to understand, what do you see? Where do you see this playing out in the next 5 to 10 years? So maybe, Fareham, I'll start with you, and then we go from there.
Yeah, so the next 5, 10 years, there's going to be mass adoption of this technology. We're going to see it in every corner of the workplace. VR, is going to change the way that, products are prototyped, the way that we access entertainment. AR with real-time data overlays are going to change healthcare. Being able to, a healthcare professional, a doctor walking into a room and having that real-time data overlay through a pair of AR hardware glasses, be able to see the patient's vitals, monitor the types of medication that's necessary, as well as, be able to be fed real-time data, also using AI to be able to care for these patients. So, that I'm just giving one example here, but in my vision of where we'll be in the next 10 years with immersive technology is I feel that it will be integrated into every single part of business operations in our daily lives.
Oktay?
I'll provide a few examples. I currently teach at the Vancouver Film School as an instructor in XR business and the extended reality as a business course, but I live in Toronto. So I teach my students through headsets that are located, like I'm here and they're there. So I have 12 students in a virtual environment, and we interact, we communicate, we collaborate, we create. So this is an advanced program. There aren't that many. There's one here in Brampton through Algoma and Yorkville. But I see this as the future of education, but I also see this as the future of work as well too, where you can collaborate, particularly in a remote setting where a lot of people are working from home. And using XR, we can still build teams. We could still build community. We could still build collaboration by using XR. So that's one thing. The other thing that I like to talk about is renaissance in retail. For many, many years, we've adopted these powerful technologies, smartphones, iPads, more powerful desktops, portable laptops, but we've condensed the retail experience to a screen. No longer can we go into Nike Town or these big, or for example, Victoria's Secret, or these showcase stores where we're enamored and we're engaged with the brand. Instead, we're focused on the screen, and with our smartphones, we're focused on a little tiny screen. So XR, I think, will really create a renaissance in terms of how we shop, how we integrate with brands, and how we engage in our environment. And I think that's very, very powerful. So those are just two examples, and we'll talk about more as we continue.
Thanks, Oktay. Fernando?
Thank you. So I think actually it's a short term, but this scenario of XR, the 3D version, the new internet is going to be called metaverse. And I'm going to give an example. I think that Jaipur said before that this kind of event is going to be duplicated next year, right? And then again, next year you won't see me, you will see a digital twin of me with the face of Tom Cruise, so I have more hair, and probably a chatbot talking all the answers from me. That's what's going to happen, right? So the acceleration of XR is so extremely powerful because of what I said to Josephine. The components is not only on the XR as well. You apply the AI together, you apply IoT, and then you see all multiple versions coming on front of everything. Our platform, Biru, that is one of the best platforms actual into 3D version for enterprise, accommodates AI, accommodates IoT. The headsets that you were talking before, you have HTC or even Meta, all that. They have multiple data and KPIs coming back from the headsets, telling everyone, including the trainers, that I was blinking in there, I was taking, too much time thinking. So you have all that coming from the AI. This is actual, right? So the XR is like a tsunami as well. It's coming, but with all the components together. And we're going to see that we see companies, as I said, I will tell probably later on that they are really early adopters, but the big companies, the tier 1 companies, the manufacturers, the robotics, they're already using XR in everything from prototyping to creating digital twins as well. I was talking, I think, with someone before, a client of mine, Metrolinx, obviously, that one of the partners on the P3, a construction company, got the idea to create a digital twin of a new station and replicate it. So we did all the 3D files as well, versions with high fidelity, and he sold that digital twin to Metrolinx and created a possibility to be a partner in the new $9 billion project. That CEO was probably looking, and he didn't have a clue about XR. We just having lunch. And I said, but what is this? And the guy is a businessman, so finally got out the idea. I said, can you do a digital twin of a new station? Give me all the products, and that's exactly what we provide. So there are multiple things that are happening now. Business people are already looking at this in different scenarios, but it's coming strong. It's coming very strong. I don't think we need 3 to 5 years. I think it's coming really in the next 2 years or 3. We're going to be everyone, you know what is, just customized 3D versions as well for buying things, for selling things, on the customer engagement uses, the user actually getting all the feedback from the AI component of the XR.
Thank you so much for that. And that actually makes me think of 2 more questions that I have for you, but I'll get them one by one. But I wanted to share something. Talk about digital twins. So the other day, I have the MetaQuest at home, and I was just wearing it. And this is funny in a certain way because I was trying to set up my physical monitors so that I can see them. We all have the setup at home, and I had them set up. And then when I put on the MetaQuest, and MetaQuest, when you put it on, you can actually have different screens. You know that, right? Like you can have 5, 6, 7 screens. And I was wondering, hey, why did I waste my time on setting that up? But then immediately the next question was, well, would I be wearing this headset all the day to take my meetings, to work? Does this make sense? Right? I don't know. I don't have an answer. I said, you know what? I'm just going to park it, let my kids enjoy it. But food for thought, saying, how are we going to go? Is the solution AR? Is the solution VR, MR? I don't know. But it is exciting, for sure. Now, next question to you, maybe I'll start with you, Oktay, here, is, you talk about real-time rendering. You talk about, well, the applications. But it also begs, what are the challenges? Because it's not easy. Do we have the right skill sets, the talent, and the implementation for these immersive solutions in the real world?
I think there's a hesitancy because there's a lack of knowledge. I think there's an appreciation that XR immersive environments are exciting, that they are the future. But a lot of the leaders that I've spoken to, a lot of people who are making decisions, who are considering it or have heard about it, they don't know where to start. And that begins with knowledge, and I think it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to become a developer or a designer. It has to become, it begins with you understanding your particular needs and how XR can solve that. So here's how I would approach it. So one of the challenges that with XR is, the first thing I ask my client is, why? Why are we here? So it's the Simon Sinek thing, start with the why. And the second thing that I ask is, are you doing this for product leadership? Do you want to be the best in the product? Are you doing it for operational efficiency? Do you want to be more productive? Or are you doing it for customer intimacy? Do you want to activate your brand, connect better with your customers? So that's what I ask. And the second thing that I ask is this: are you going to be developing candy, a vitamin, or a painkiller? And candy is a nice to have, a vitamin is maybe, and a painkiller actually solves the problem. So the challenges that we have in XR is that there's a lot of candy, and there's a lot of, I would say, hype, but not a lot of knowledge and appreciation. So I think us as an industry, individuals who are hoping to embrace XR, there's an education gap. And there's also an assessment gap, and hopefully those 2 steps of product leadership, operational efficiency, or customer intimacy, plus matching it with, are you developing candy, vitamin, or a painkiller, really can set the stage for developing powerful, engaging, and useful experiences.
Yeah, Fareham, I'd like to.
Yeah, I agree with Oktay that is hesitancy that's definitely the biggest challenge. But in my experience with the hesitancy, it's usually generally around the cost. Creating a lot of these XR development tools requires significant investment, and with that learning gap, obviously. The businesses I speak with, the clients I speak with, are very excited about the technology. They want to incorporate this technology. But then as soon as we start doing a little bit of discovery, I always ask a question, what's your problem? We figure out what the solution to that problem is. And then after we have that solution, we take a look at the technologies in immersive technologies and which of those technologies can we apply to that problem to help solve it better. But even after going through all of that discovery and everyone's all super happy, they really want to work with this, then the cost comes in, and that's always a killer. I always have a response when cost becomes a factor, and my question back is always, what's the cost of doing nothing, right? Because we're at a pivotal point right now in technology, specifically immersive technologies, with the adoption happening right across the board, that any companies right now, any businesses, no matter how big, no matter how small, I recommend get into it now, right? Like, if you don't have the money to invest in a whole big product, the great thing about these technologies is they're like Lego blocks, right? You can build out a specific product to help you with one problem and keep it cost effective, keep it as like a proof of concept. And from there, determine what's working with it, what value, what ROI you're getting, and be able to build new blocks and piece them together. I've worked with clients where we've built one product on their manufacturing floor for lockout tagout certification. After we had done that, they had saved in the first year over $2 million in travel expenses for training their 500 plus employees. And after it took almost 2 years to get them to the point of actually building this product. But after we had built it, after it had been implemented, and they saw the value, all of a sudden now they want for their next training module and the next training module. And eventually, what ends up happening is you focus on that one product and you actually get to build out that bigger product that's the vision over time in pieces, and it all functions together.
Thanks so much for that. Fernando?
Yeah, I always look for a champion when I go to defend, and I'm a salesperson, obviously, for VirtualWare in North America. And a champion is not the CFO, because I know the guy is going to tell me costly, talk about return of investment, it's going to be lost. The CEO, as you say, Josephine, is going to look at me and say, oh my God, first AI and now digital twin, I'm going to be replaced not twice. First AI and now you're going to plaster me there with the virtual reality image of myself. So I know there's going to be a no-no for the CEO. So I say, okay, who else can I go, right? The innovation director. Normally companies they are tier 1 companies, they are already adopting that, or tier 2, they are actually calibrating. So we calculated the calibrators, and obviously the adopters. And there's always an innovation department, innovation person who understand what is AI, what is IoT. Then you create like a champion of that. That probably is going to be the best option for everyone, right, to go into it. If you go to the other people, it's going to be very difficult. Cost is going to be determined of many, many factors. Ignorance, obviously, is the key factor. You cannot talk with people, they don't understand what is HR. I talk to a lot of HR people as well, because we do immersive training. We'll come back later in another question, but it's the same situation. You need to understand exactly, are they beginners? They don't understand anything. Are the calibrators, they are already understanding, maybe looking at adopting, or the executors that are in a big company, they have already innovation lab, everything else. So it depends as well, in my opinion. The answer is find your champion inside, try to put all the elements, and then it will happen.
Thank you so much for that. And I want to share an experience. So I've been working with in the immersive field with AR/VR companies for almost 3 years now. And one of the companies I had the interaction, I was coaching them, mentoring them, and we were trying to get customers, because the biggest challenge is in adoption. People don't understand. So it's more candy. People say, and I keep saying this, you go to the Disney experience, you pay $20, $30, and you just go home. That's it. But it's more beyond that, right? So there was one thing, and I'm kind of picking that up on the virtual walking tour, that comment that was made. So we actually tried for this company to get into tourism, because personally, and maybe you all, when you walk into parks, when you walk into some of these exhibitions, sometimes you get lost and saying, I have no clue where I am. Like, I don't know what I'm seeing. I have no clue. And it kind of takes away the experience. If it's a one-off, if it's a special event, then you want to immerse yourself in that experience. So we said, okay, maybe that's an opportunity for you where you can come in. The challenge was they were like, oh no, this is going to be 100% expensive. So, Oktay, to your point. B, I have no clue. I don't have the people here, and I'm not going to do this. So we were not able to progress with that thing at all for that company, and they hit a roadblock. Well, they had an opportunity to create something that's going to benefit all of us, right? Like, who wouldn't want to be in that virtual walkthrough or that event, and you have access to more information? Which kind of leads to my next question here. I know I'm going some changing questions, but it kind of helps me wrap things around here. In terms of adoption, if, when you're talking to those companies, what would you say are the important steps for them to integrate those technologies? Oktay, you alluded to it in a bit, saying, you ask them business questions, but I'm just trying to understand if it's a startup, if it's a corporate company here, if it's an organization, let's say the city of Brampton, I'm just picking here because you're our favorites. You want to adopt Immersive here, right? Like, what are the steps? How do we go about encouraging them to adopt XR? So, I don't know, Fareham, maybe you want to take a stab at it?
Yeah. First of all, again, it comes down to cost. So, and looking at what the problem and solution is. But, if you're a smaller business, see, XR and AR, MR and VR on the spectrum are different price ranges for entry points, right? On the VR side, you have high development costs. There's significant cost to get all of the hardware required for those interactions in VR. Mixed reality, is kind of in between AR. There's still development costs, a little bit of hardware needed. But, something like AR for a small business, the great thing about AR is to access any AR deployment, all you need is any device that has a camera and an internet connection. So already everyone with their cell phones has access to work with and actually access this technology. So, I would say if you're a business looking to get in, think about, what type of investment you can make. And then from there, you're able to determine, how deep of a dive into immersive technologies are you going to take? Are you going to do a lightweight AR, start testing the water, go heavy in VR? And once you've kind of identified that, you reach out to XR development teams. I co-founded Dabhos. It's a XR development company, and very focused on working with businesses and being able to, discover their needs and build these entire products out. So, don't try and do it yourself. In my earlier days, I had 100 ideas for different products, and I tried to do everything, put together, my own dev team. It's not worth the learning curve. Reach out to experts. There's a lot of people out there who can help guide you and consult you along that journey entering into the space.
Thank you so much for that. Fernando?
Yeah, so VirtualWare actually is an infrastructure company. We create infrastructure, that's the platform, right? So it's a 3D driven, actually XR, not as a service for enterprise. So it doesn't matter the company, what it is, but if they want to scale up in a specific solution for something using our platform, they can create, they can prototype, they can train, immersive training, they can actually sell. Right, so I have companies that they found out a niche, and it's a startup actually that they do maybe 3D printing or 3D whatever, right? And they say we can scale that and go into that segment market. If you know your segment market, like for instance, Josephine, you segment market, maybe you see an opportunity to implement as well VR into the skills, soft skills or hard skills, using your AI parameters and accommodate to VR. Just as an example. So to me is the knowledge, right? So So you have already knowledge of what is the VR, XR, everything else, and the cementation and maybe the business opportunities, then you can go there. Conversations per se start sometimes on events. I have been in events surprised by somebody who is looking at, I say, what do you do, guys? I say, well, I actually love your platform and Unity to create this specific immersive training for healthcare, for nurses. No, for instance, so now we are talking with St. Joseph Hospital. They're going to create an entire plant and simulation lab. And not only that, the VP actually of Ontario, who is part of that team, said, I want the IP and I want to actually sell the models that we're going to replicate. So imagine the possibility of a business creation based on that models that we're going to work together with our platform. So it could be healthcare, it could be many other opportunities. So I think that the same as that guy I was having lunch, I said before, right, from a company, Spanish company, huge company, the biggest one in construction in the world, and knowledge zero, but he saw the business opportunity, for the little image. They said, can you replicate the digital twin of a train station? We are going to Metrolink. I said, yes. What you need, and I have the BIM manager next to me, and the BIM manager, she's the one who knows. I said, okay, Elena, you need to send me all the 3D files, no, specifically Unity. We try to transfer to our Viru platform, where we can do as well in that level. We do high definition, and we have everything together. We send you the markup, and that's it. That's how it works. So there are elements of business opportunities. If you have a minimum knowledge, you can really have opportunities to do that. And XR is going to open up a Pandora box for many companies into that.
Thanks, Fernando. Oktay?
If I sound like I'm a fan of pain, I am. I usually work with companies from an adoption standpoint to address their pain points again. I mean, if it sounds like a broken record, it's all about pain points and gain points. Let me give you an example. I had the opportunity to visit Airbus in France last year, and one of the projects that they're working on is with Qantas Airlines, and they're the Australian flag carrier. And the distance between Sydney and London is not possible to do with regular aircraft. So they are having a new aircraft outfitted, which is the Airbus 350, extra long range with extra fuel tanks. It doesn't exist yet. And the engines are being modified as well too, and it doesn't exist yet. The cost to this airline is that they cannot have this aircraft delivered and then train their crew in terms of the engines, the cabin, flying the aircraft. This has to be done before the aircraft is delivered. And the only way to do this is through XR. So you create a digital twin, basically a digital version of the aircraft, so that cabin crew can practice, pilots can practice in their simulator, and the engine technicians can actually pull the engine apart digitally and find out how it's put together in case they have to service the engine. So this crew in this company will be fully ready when that aircraft arrives and lands at Sydney. So what do they gain from this? They gain significant cost savings. Okay, so they're solving a pain point, and then they're gaining margin. So when you have a discussion with clients where you can save them money, improve efficiency, it's a real game changer. So that's the way I approach it. And then, once we come up with a solution, development is the last thing you do. So, and there are a variety of tools. We can actually use VIRTUALWARE, we can use custom-made tools, variety of tools out there, but it's really driven by the pain and the solution, and ultimately technology is the last step.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Very interesting. Now, coming to, and I think all three of you addressed this, but I want to eke that out to say, well, what should companies do to stay competitive? We talked about AI, and I want to mention that because AI, Gen AI, has seen a very high increased adoption into XR. Now with AI coming in, with XR coming in, and I don't know what else is out there in the next 5 years, have absolutely no clue, but what should companies do to stay competitive and ahead of the curve? Oktay, we'll start with you. Again, context is what's happening in XR, but how does it also work with other emerging technologies, IoT, notably AI, but there is also IoT, there are other things. So
No doubt there's an intersection between XR and AI. I'll give you an example. There's a tool that many developers use, game developers specifically, but it's also being used in XR. It's called Unity. Unity is a development environment where you can create 3D environments. It's also a game engine. It's also being used for the metaverse, or metaverses, I should say. Last year they introduced their generative AI. They introduced this tool called Muse and Centis, which is basically prompt-based. So let me give you an example. From a cost-saving standpoint, a time-saving standpoint, and creativity acceleration standpoint, you could put a prompt in to say, give me a surround desert environment, with these particular characteristics, and it gets you 60% there, which you can then modify. Prior to that, you had to spend a lot of time creating that perfect environment. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. It allows you to rapidly prototype. So this is a huge competitive advantage with that particular piece of software. It's finding its way into other development environments as well too, which is also lowering the entry barrier for people who want to get into the industry. And to Josephine's point, AI with humans can empower you to be very, very creative and competitive. And in this particular case, that intersection of XR and AI can allow people to be very, very creative and quick in their creativity to be able to deliver some compelling experiences.
Thanks, Oktay. Fernando?
Absolutely right, because our company, we have projects all over the world. So we have a design team of designers in Unity, by the way, in Bilbao, our headquarters coming from its design to do whatever in China or another country. And they took about 3 months in the past, so we added AI. Right now it's 1 week, right? So at the point that we are creating actually an open AI VR protocol as well into our company to apply that. It might probably will put in the market at one point because we are pioneers, right, into that. So we are creating that. This is first news for everybody, by the way. Where actually developers from all over the world, they will be using our platform and using as well the mechanism of AI that we implemented into VR. It's going to be open up. It's going to be democratic. So you don't have to pay anything, the same as all the people are doing for software developers. So we found out really extremely interesting, when you put together the pieces, as you said before. So that was exactly the point. Yeah.
Fareham?
Yeah, no. There are a lot of great tools out there. Unity's an amazing tool. Platforms like VIRTUALWARE, which are kind of white labeled, you're able to build in these environments. All great tools. With AI out there, there's more and more tools being developed every day that help within this space. But in order to stay competitive, if you haven't already gotten into immersive technologies, is start doing it now, right? Start doing it as soon as possible, because there's a huge learning curve. You're going to have to learn whatever products you're working on. There's going to be a learning curve on how those products are created and implemented into business practices or workflows. And if you start now, you'll be ahead of about 80% of other businesses, because not everyone's starting now. We still have a small fraction of people adopting immersive technologies into business operations. That to stay ahead of the curve, start now, start small. Start doing independent research, figuring out what technologies work best for your business practices, and yeah, start now, start small, get ahead of the curve, stay ahead of everyone else who's not doing it right now.
Thank you so much. I know we have a little time left, so I'm going to last question. It's kind of coming back to where we started, looking into the future. And there was a question earlier today on the TV there, talk about XR trends. What are the trends? What are you seeing? Something mind-boggling or something like, I don't know, maybe there's digital twin, maybe there's Tom Cruise, I don't know, but what are those exciting things that we should look forward to, and where is XR heading? Any insights? Maybe Fareham, you can start.
Yeah, anything about future is definitely my cup of tea. I think the biggest thing with all these technologies, not just immersive technologies, but like you mentioned, blockchain technologies, metaverse, and it's been a key hurdle, specifically in blockchain over the last 12 or 13 years, which is interoperability. And I see that that's the next phase, that's the next trend. We've got all these product suites, all these different types of technology. We now are, at that phase where we're figuring out how do all of these pieces work together? How can all of these different pieces improve on each other? For some examples, you have in the decentralized ledger space with Metaverse, you have Decentraland, CryptoVoxel, Sandbox, Sensorium, and these are all independent metaverses. They have communities, users coming in, there's concerts, events, Decentraland, Domino's Pizzas in Decentraland, you can order a pizza at their stand and it'll deliver to your door. Louis Vuitton has their retail locations in there. Now I can go into Decentraland and I can buy a Louis Vuitton NFT bag, which it's a phygital item. I can go actually get the physical product with that NFT, but now I have this really cool Louis Vuitton bag that I can't bring into Sandbox, right? I can't bring into Sensorium. So a lot of these digital assets are still not interoperable, and as soon as this interoperability, so there's more solutions with that, and we start seeing the integration, further. Right now, it's very top level of like AI entering into the immersive technologies. I think we'll see, new technologies coming out of it, and use cases we can't even fathom right now of how these technologies can work together.
Thanks, Fareham. Oktay?
I thought you'd ask that question, so I had a few notes here. So if you see me going through this, I'm not answering my text messages. It's just a few notes that I had. One huge area that I see in the immersive environment is actually virtual commerce. So we've already seen or heard of the fact that you have your avatar, you can dress it up. Okay, we are getting so advanced in terms of what these avatars look like. It's approaching human fidelity. And with some of the software where we can add human and facial gestures in it, it no longer looks like what we call in special effects or a 3D program called the uncanny valley, where it looks real, but it's wooden, and it's not real. And because it's not real, it's like, okay, it's not believable. But we're getting to this fidelity where when we look like ourselves or look like someone else we want to look like, and that is possible, we can then buy clothes. We could potentially get a haircut. We could potentially have a service applied to us. We can go on a virtual vacation. And there are predictions that virtual commerce will actually exceed physical commerce, in the next 15 to 20 years, in terms even sooner potentially. So that's one thing. I do want to actually take an analog approach as well in terms of XR. And I'm going to use just one example. When marijuana was legalized in Canada, there was a whole bunch of companies that jumped in thinking it would be highly profitable, but a lot of companies then jumped out because it wasn't profitable. But one segment of the cannabis industry that's very profitable are accessories. So, the holders, the pipes, the brownie mixes, these are extremely profitable. I think this will also be the case with XR. And IKEA has jumped into the game, for example, gaming. IKEA is part of the gaming ecosystem. And what are they doing? They're coming out with gaming chairs, gaming desks, but they're not producing games. They're not producing technology. So I believe that accessories, which we call adjacencies to XR, will be growing rapidly as XR is adopted, and will be highly profitable and an easier point of entry as well.
Thanks, Oktay. Fernando?
Always go to the human in loop, the human factor, right? So we are talking about exactly, not about the synopsis of what is going to happen with blockchain. What about HR manager in the future, no? And going back to Josephine, I want to tell you something that we're going to have a long-term discussion. I have a project with NESA now. The protocol that they have, they're using our platform. I'm an amateur astronomer, the way I didn't say that before, so I have a very deep conversation with somebody there. Now they have the money because SpaceX, Elon Musk, everybody else, and anybody else is putting a lot of money and funding, so they're getting ready to do short-term flights, outside Earth, maybe up to 15 days, maximum 30 days, and they want to hire amateur, astronauts. People that probably for these 300 million people that are going to lose their jobs, maybe we have 300 million astronauts running around, So there are options, incredible options that actually XR is coming, and that maybe all the jobs that we are going to lose with AI, they are coming back to XR if we do the ideas, because they are creating so many models and so many opportunities replicating the digital twins and these scenarios. And the other one is something that actually for college or university, is the micro-certifications as well. So all the people know that the skill trace, how the skill trace now, all the universities are desperate to funding and everything else because the colleges are actually getting all that. And that's another thing as well. So we actually created modules in virtual reality for micro-credentials that are going to be used by many people. The other area as well that XR is helping as well in this is virtual reality for social workers. So that the next generation of seniors is going to live until 90 years. So we actually we are going to have a lot of need, with personal workers, social and nurses, everything else. XR, our solution actually is training hundreds into the virtual space to create new jobs for this new situation. So probably XR is the solution that we need to bring back the jobs that AI at one point is going to eliminate. Who knows?
Thank you so much. It kind of reminds me that, we say in the biology context, nature always finds a way to balance itself. So maybe there's a way for that, jobs here, gone here, come here, who knows? We don't know. But again, thank you so much for all the time, Fareham, Oktay, and Fernando to share with us all the exciting things that are happening. I also want to conclude to say that at Algoma University, our Center of Excellence focuses on education, research, innovation, and community engagement. So if you're a company, if you're an organization who's looking to work with us, please, Algoma University is here. And we also have our students and our faculty members who work with us right now on a lot of research pieces. So thank you so much, all of you. Thank you so much, Jai Paul, and thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Vinay.